Welcome back, everybody. I'm back with Architect Cynic and Dr. Mr. Mens. The series are tied 1-1, EWT versus the Professors. Let's jump right into the draft. Cynic, time and time again, we've been seeing the phase ban from the Professors. Can you explain why that might be?
I mean, it's probably something they just don't want to play against. Maybe it's just like a survivor's just like, nope, I don't want to play against it. I don't want it on my team. Maybe Crazy Fool can't pilot it or doesn't want to pilot it. And that gets to just want it off the table because they know that even worse timing can obviously pilot it very well anyways. But you see the Richter ban, just taking away Crazy Fool's power pick, trying to make him comfortable, throw him off balance as they did in the previous game. As we said, the Muriel really didn't do much. Like, it didn't impact the map across the map. The ultimates were always like, the person just exploded when he tried to help. So it didn't really have the impact that Professors were obviously looking for.
Yeah, I think keeping on with the second game, I think it found success taking that Richter off the table. We'll see if the phase does come out. It does come out for Professors. I'm not sure if I actually like that ban here because, I think that the support role is kind of one of those things that we were harping on. And, phase does offer that agency, and if we didn't like the Muriel and we have seen even worse timing take away those other support picks, that could have been one of the picks that does have that agency for Crazy Fool.
Yeah, I think Decker is obviously going to be the pickup here, as we've seen. Oh, as I say, okay, well, never mind. Decker is obviously picked by even worse timing, power pick. Just take it away from Crazy Fool if that would be his second best. And as you're saying about the phase, I feel like it kind of just enables Pablo to play his style, which is I want to run at the enemy team and get a penta. So I need someone to hold my hand and pull me back when I go too far, which is kind of what she does. So yeah, as we said, the Decker could be flexed as we have seen in the past. I don't think we'll see that today. The deck obviously has been very strong in Vikram's hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those picks that he's just known for. It offers that really clear go button when she hits that ball, when she gets that nice cage. So I think Vecron piloting this Decker champ is actually really good. And we do see the Lieutenant Bellica come out for Professors here, taking it away from Seismic. We did see him have a stellar performance on that in the game 2. So we'll see it in... Actually, this is probably going to go into the support role because we did see the Gideon also come out here. We did see Finesse 2 have a pretty good game on it in the last game, at part of that early game. But yeah, I think it's two really good pickups here.
Yeah, I think it just gives Finesse a little bit more of like stability in the lane. He can use the Torn space just to get away from any ganks, and obviously the Bellica in Seismic's hands, as you said, like Gideon and Bellica is just a takeaway from Seismic as well, as we've seen that he has the big performances on those characters in the past. And then we see even worse timing take the Drongo in the Greystone. As we said, it worked well in the last game, so why not run it back? And obviously let's see if Professors can see if they can answer it. Obviously we won't have the Bellica this game. I would probably say they're probably going to take away the Gadget. I mean, we could see the Howitzer again, but I don't think that's going to happen if Gadget's on the table for even worse timing. But Seismic did have a bit of a shaky game in the early game, last game. Maybe that's just a character. Maybe it was just him waking up. Or maybe he just had a bad game. It does happen. But interesting to see what Professors takes here. Severog is still on the table. But we have, as you said in the previous game, Professors haven't really prioritized the Severog. They've been looking at more the Feng Mao and the Chimera.
Yeah, I think, and as you say that, Feng Mao does come out. It's kind of that signature pick of violence. He has been creating a lot of violence. We did see him have, we did say it earlier, he kind of tried to put the team on his back in the last game. And we did see a lot of success in the first game. So I think this is really good for Professors. It didn't really have as great of effect into the Greystone. I think that Greystone is a really good pick to kind of keep the Fang Mao in lane because it does have that kind of push pressure against the Fang Mao to kind of keep that even lane. So I think it's a really good pickup for even worse timing against that Fang Mao. And we do see the Gadget come off the table for Professors. I think this is a really good ban with that Gideon also on, picked up from Professors.
Yeah, I think the Greystone kind of just gives you that priority that you're looking for with 6, because as you saw in the previous game, like if 6 is allowed to have those winning lanes and have the pressure, he can just take away resources. And as we've seen in a few games, actually, 6 likes to play around the off lane because he always likes to pick up mini prime as soon as it spawns. As soon as it's up, take it. As soon as it's up, give it to someone else, maybe try and impact the lanes. We did see the Belica take it last game, whether that was a mistake or not. I don't think it was, because they wanted just to break open the mid lane tier 1 and just allow Seismic to roam around the map. And then we see the TB taken away. Obviously, again, they've taken the Drongo. Professor haven't taken the AD, and we saw Survivor do very well on the Twin Blast, but not having the same impact on the Murdoch last game. Granted, it was kind of just crumbling at the seams. It wasn't necessarily his problem and his bad. I mean, he did die in the laning phase early, but I don't think it necessarily would have helped if it was Twin Blast in that scenario. But we'll see what they would pick up. They're probably going to take, I would say probably the Revenant here, maybe try and open up the game by just isolating somebody with like the Deca or the Drongo. And then as we see, oh, no, it's not a crunch. It is a Revenant, as I was about to say. Revenant, just isolate somebody, blow them up, and try and get your own lead. I wish that when we saw the Revenant on Pablo, that he did use the ultimate more, to just get himself a lead, but instead he was kind of like donating the kills to the crunch. But even worse timing, what do they respond with this?
Yeah, I think we're going to see the crunch come out here for even worse timing. It's just one of those picks that Six is just always going to gravitate towards. We do see the Muriel answer here. This is actually going to put the Decker into the mid lane here. I think this is really smart for, we saw it from Seismic yesterday in the semifinals. He is comfortable on that champion, and it does have pretty good wave clear. So, while we are looking at these mid laners like Gideon, like Gadget, that have that really good wave clear, Decker can also provide that while also providing a lot of utility in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think even worse time we were kind of looking at this game plan and been like, if they just attack my mid pool, just give me the Deca. And obviously they left their options open by not taking any other like character that would fit into that support role. So they have that flexibility for last pick to pull out the Deca in the mid lane. Whether Professors were expecting that or not is a different story, but they did ban the Gadget away. So I assume that they didn't think that the Deca was in mid lane. And this is going to be the first time Severog. Will we get the Severog jungle that I've been asking for this whole event? I hope so.
I think that's exactly what we're going to see. I mean, I don't assume anybody else on the Professor's lineup outside of Violence to pick up that Fang Mao. So I really think that, we are going to see Nitro on that Severog. Oh, looks like we're muted.
Oh, sorry. We know with Violence's playstyle, he favors more of like those aggressive heroes, but I really wish we could have seen him play Grux this time around. I do want to ask a question, Cynic. What do you think about Revenant instead of Murdoch against the Drongo?
I mean, it just creates that isolation that the Revenant can win if he is set up correctly. Like if they chunk out the Drongo and then he still has his Q up, he can just ult, root him in place, nuke him, and just get the gold bounty as well as the kill. And it kind of just creates a situation in team fights as well where they can just ult the Muriel, take her out the fight. I think the Revenant is a very strong pick. We haven't really seen it utilized too well this tournament, but hopefully Survivor can utilize it well.
Yeah, and then of course we've got the Muriel who's going to be picked up by even worse timing. Who do you think wins the draft here, Cynic?
I mean, I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm just going to go EWT. I think their draft is stronger again. I do think that Vecron can pilot the Muriel. He has shown in the past that is very strong at it. I don't think this is going to be like a useless Muriel. And I also feel like if they can get the Revenant behind, it's not really going to have the impact. So again, how much impact does Severog get on the map? It kind of depends on the offlane and jungle matchup here, but I think Eve West Timing take this.
All right, well, Meds, we talked about the Professors doing a great job of rotating, controlling the game in game 1. Is this what they need to do for game number 3?
We'll see. I think that they did change up their strategy a little bit, putting this Severog into the jungle. It is one of those picks that has pretty good gank potential with that subjugate. So we'll see how, those rotations go with that Severog. But I'm also looking at that mid lane. We have seen this Gideon have that push potential. So if the Gideon can get out of lane get into the jungle, help Nitro out, help Violence out in that off lane, I think we're going to see some pretty spicy gameplay.
Oh my goodness. Game number 3. Who wins the draft for you, Mr. Meds?
That's a great question. I think they're pretty even in the drafts. I'd like to say that, I like Professor's draft a little more just because of that CC that they do have coming out of the subject, coming out of the Bellica, and kind of into that crunch. But we do know that crunch is a monster when it's being played by Six. So, you can't discount that.
Yep, 2,800 on the line. Get those predictions in. Show your team some love. Are you a student or are you a hamster? Are you on the train or are you having a good time? This is game number 3, baby. Let's give it up for Lance and F6.
Thank you so much, R-Dog. We are getting away for game 3 here. 1 apiece. We are knotted up. We have to talk about this Decker mid F6. Tell me why Seismic feels confident picking this.
Because one, it's just Seismic. Am I right, Lance? He's just a confident mid laner. And it's been tried. And we've seen him play it yesterday out of nowhere. People questioning this pick. But we saw how he facilitated for his team. And he was essentially a second support with a little bit more damage to help Six come out and just finish off these kills or go over towards where Shin is and just help him pressure out the offlane. So look for him to do that here. He already does a good job of it with the Bellica, and pretty much Decker is a second Bellica with a little bit more CC and a big old cage in her kit.
Yeah, I got to give props to Professors for taking that Bellica away during the first rotation, getting Seismic off that champion that he is the most comfortable with, but no other team has the ability to, or has at least shown the ability yet, to flex this Decker the way that they have. They've been focusing Seismic so much during the early laning phase. He's gotten 2 ganks at level 2 through 2 games so far. It's so hard to gank a Decker in the mid lane, especially if you're on somebody like Severog over there, who's just going to have an awful time getting forward. You're going to get put in that cage and you're stuck. She's going to have the double jump to get away. You're going to have to land a subjugate from way downtown in order to really be able to, do too much to this Decker. Finesse is going to have a nice time in the early game, being able to have the early clear against her, be able to poke her out and take these early trades. But the longer it goes, the safer Seismic is going to be over here, and the kill potential is just not really going to be that existent. As you see, Finesse is going to take, the aggression, start trading with the auto attack. Seismic's got to back up, but I believe he's on the wrong side, and Six is going to jump in as well over here to try to defend Seismic. And that's another thing that I was going to say that we needed to talk about with this Decker mid, the gank setup for it. It's so easy for a Decker to be able to hit that lacrosse ball, be able to put somebody in a cage and hold them still for a character like Crunch to be able to then land the forward crunch, get that CC chain onto them, start that damage really adding up, and try to push this robot to 6 as fast as they can get her.
Shin in a little bit of trouble. Blink for Blink. Shin, you gotta run or call 6 over, and first blood goes down to Violence, and he chose himself today, and once again picking that up for the Professor. So we see a stronger start out in this offlane here today, Lance, and honestly looking good. You don't want a Violence to be ahead because we know the impact that he can do on this map whenever he is.
Yeah, we've talked about the snowball that he has multiple times and what it takes to just get him rolling. We also have to point out Cynic finally got his wish. He's got that Severog jungle over for Nitro. That Colossal Blow has had huge impacts in team fights. This entire PCC 5 main event, gonna be able to potentially Colossal Blow some people away and take some smite steals with that as well. I also believe that Severog is a pretty strong jungle, kind of gives them a safe opportunity to get those stacks up, scale into the mid and late game a little bit faster than he is in the offlane without the contention and worrying about having to play into somebody like Shin, who's going to know how to play that lane right, know how to slow that Severog down. So a little bit of a mind game, smart play by Professors to put that in the jungle and give Violence another comfortable champion like he has been on this entire weekend. We've seen him dominate most of this weekend.
Domination indeed coming in from Nitro whenever he's in a right pool of characters that he likes to play. But one thing I want to talk about is they need to pressure out this Muriel like they got pressured out in last game by the Professors. As we can see, if the Bellic is able to get a good knock up on Vecron, they're able to just get the Obliterate out from Survivor onto Vecron here, especially if her shield is not up, to really put that damage on it. She doesn't have an escape, especially prior to level 6. If they're able to put that pressure on before she gets 6, they'll be able to use that to get the pressure around the entire map and get Rev a little bit more ahead than Pablo and Drongo.
Yeah, and we know the professors can teach and they write a lot of lessons plans, but can they read them? Because even worse timing wrote it up for them in this last game with the way that they played into this Muriel. And that's exactly what professors needs to try to do in reverse to them, right? We talk about the Uno reverse corridor being the ult for the Muriel. Well, professors has got to pick that up. They got to put a drop 2 down or a draw 2 down on top of it, try to find a way to counteract what this Muriel is going to do. We've seen Vecron perform on pretty much every support within the roster. Will not be surprised to see him do this on the Muriel as well.
Yeah, big stun ball coming in from Decker to Finesse, but he's going to be able to eat a rock just back going into that trade. I also don't think we were talking about the potential of just locking away one of the enemy heroes for their crunch with the Decker cage, but I mean, for Gideon, that's not the target, right? So Seismic's going to have to rotate and lock somebody else down like the Revenant and the Bellica to really get that full potential out. So be aware of that, looking for whenever Six and the Seismic are grouped up together, rotating to that duo lane to really get the pressure on, try and get them ahead.
And not only does she need to try to isolate them in the cage, but the Gideon needs to not be there as well, because those teammates can take the torn space as well. So really have to be careful with the selection of where you put the cages down for Seismic that has such an ability to change a team fight, but it's on a very long cooldown. You're only going to get one a team fight. A little bit of a pressure coming down onto Shin, not 6 yet, so isn't going to have that second life. Aggro is going to draw onto Nitro, and now it is Shin's turn to try to do a tower defense, but they're going to be able to put him down. That's another kill for Violence, sitting at 2-0, 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the game already.
And as we see on this replay, Violence making sure he takes the aggro onto the tower so Violence can put that damage out, because he's not the one with the damage here. Violence is, and Violence understands that the Reaping Dash coming in to catch up on top of Shin in that Greystone without level 6. And what a great play, understanding he's not level 6 yet, being able to apply that pressure. He's not safe, and now he's taking a 2 camp away from 6, and I don't think 6 is going to like that. He's feeling the disrespect.
He's going to give it up to him, though. He knows he doesn't have quite enough damage to finish that out. Unfortunately, just going to provide a little bit of a leash to 6, so not quite the advantage that Violence was looking for there, but that's the type of plays that they need to start making. They need to start denying things from this crunch. Unfortunately, weren't able to fully finish that off. We'll see if that ends up coming back to bite them, as it is getting very close. The black hole is going to come out, force the immediate flash out of Pablo. Crazy Fool misses the knockup as well, but Vecron is turning tail. A little bit of follow-up damage in the 2v3 here, but both members of both teams are pretty healthy and not a lot of follow-ups going to happen. But tell me if you've heard this one before. Shin is getting targeted, gonna have to flash away. Does still have, no, the ult has actually already been used, so he is running for his second life right now, and he is going to escape, but that's a little bit of wasted pressure over there. Gonna pick up 2 waves worth of experience for Violence here, while Shin is forced to reset actually.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is a smart play coming out of Professors, getting Violence ahead, making sure he's able to put that pressure onto the squishies in the backline when it comes to these team fights. And honestly, you don't want a Greystone to be chunky, right? So you want to keep him behind. You want to keep him a little bit less of a big boy. As you see, even worse timing, with their best timing, as always, onto this Fang Tube with no answers, no wards coming in from the Professors.
Yeah, and I thought Nitro was going to go over and clean up the blue side jungle for himself here. However, that wouldn't have been countering anything, and they have a better idea, and that is to go to the mini prime. They're going to try to pick them up for themselves here. Don't be surprised to see them give this to Violence, although it would be a couple of stacks for Nitro. It's just better you give it to the person who is already ahead. Actually, no, look at that. Lance is wrong for about the 10th time today already in game 3. They're going to put it onto the Sevarog, let him get his stacks off of that, let him impact multiple lanes since Violence is already ahead. But look out for Crazy Fool here. The body block coming out of 6 is very nice. They're not able to let him walk around the big robot body into the safety of his tier 1 tower. And that's going to be an answer for even worse timing, picking up their first kill of the game.
just caught out of in a bad position there. Great body block coming in from 6. So unfortunate that Crazy Fool died there. But I mean, if anybody's going to die on the map, you want it to be your support. So hopefully this will just get one of those things. They're just understanding, hey, I need to be in a better position, better calls there, because Survivor did back and wasn't with him to help him just put out damage. So hopefully they fix that going into this next letter of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Violence is just doing his best Salt and Pepper impersonation here and pushing it constantly into this off lane as well. Already back to the tier 1. Shin's gonna have to hit a reset, which means he's gonna cancel the reset, gonna have to stay a little riskily here, and he doesn't want to give up another wave to his tier 1 tower here. May potentially lose it as well if he backs, so that's great recognition out of Shin to stay in lane. They're gonna spin around, clear these up, get the siege minion as well. So he's going to pick these 3 up, going to have to reset for himself at this spot. Already has the cleave coming out, needs to finish that overload as fast as he can. Nitro's not going to mess with him at all, give him a peaceful back. Violence, once again, going to proxy this wave, get it cleared as fast as he can. Nitro's going to come over as well. Tier 1's going to fall in off lane 10 minutes and 30 seconds into the game as they have this buffed up minion wave underneath the tier 1.
Great play coming out of Nitro, understanding he has the mini or prime buff to help facilitate once again for Violence to keep that pressure on Shin, keep Shin worried, keep him in a sweat stage of like, what is going on here? There is a bunch of resources put towards the offlane, but since they're able to successfully get the pressure out, getting that T1 early on in the first 10, 11 minutes into the game, now you're going to see a Feng Mao Violence come over, spread the hate that he has ready, this Feng Mao all over towards other lanes like the mid and the duo.
And this is one of the only plays we saw go well for Professors in the last game 6, as immediately after taking that tier 1 tower, Violence moved over to the duo lane, helped his duo lane take their tier 1 tower as well, really started to put some gold into himself. Ooh, Crazy Fool caught up in a bit of CC as he's gonna get caught in the cage, and the Decker ult as well from Seismic, but not enough follow-up to be able to put him down, as there is still a lack of damage as we are only level 9. Seismic does have a decent ability to wave clear, but the damage still just really isn't there on that mid lane Decker this far into the game. So a little bit of pressure onto Crazy Fool, gets the ult from Decker, but no kills picked up for EWT.
Great attempt coming in from Seismic. We talked about it earlier in the game when we're saying, why did he pick Decker into this? And we saw that coming out with the cage, putting Crazy Fool in a bad position, able to get off a lot of damage, but not quite yet in the game stage where they're able to just 0 to 100 individual out of the Professor side. But what we're going to see though is Finesse was trying to rotate, but unfortunately Nitro was there to kind of put pressure in the mid lane to stop that from happening. And I think if Finesse 2 is able to get a rotation off good enough to follow Seismic, they might be able to turn these fights around, especially after so much of the resources on EWT are going to be used to try and secure a kill.
Yeah, that is pretty much exactly what we're seeing. A little bit of a lull in the action might be a great time to take a look at the scoreboard here. I believe it is still 2. Okay, so it is 2-2 here. You see Crazy Fool has fallen down twice, 2 kills on 6, 2 kills on Violence. So decently knotted up here. A little bit of a CS lead going on in the duo or in the solo lane, as Violence is up about 15 CS over Shin right now, but overall across the board pretty even. A little bit of about 40 CS total in advantage of Professors, but a little minuscule at this point in the game, only 13 minutes in.
Yeah, we got Violence rotating over now because we see the Fangtooth getting ready to pop up. They don't want to give up the second one. Violence on an early rotation over towards Seismic, but gonna have to blink out to get away from the ult to execute them out of the threshold, and they're gonna have to take a reset on Seismic. He's gonna have to be careful though, because now he does not have a blink. But that pressure we were talking about, that Feng Mao is getting, that he's now putting towards mid lane, getting that pressure to go towards this Fangtooth. Six gonna have to be careful because he is by himself in a weird position and don't want to get caught out here.
Once again, you're going to see Professors respecting even worse timing, though, and dropping the aggro of the Fangtooth. Gonna walk away from where it is at, but a fight is going to pop off into the mid lane as Shin is going to find Finesse 2. Not a lot of follow-up there, as it is still a Greystone, only 14 minutes into the game, so not a lot of damage. So the posturing, the dancing, the moving around for the second Fangtooth of the game has happened, but they walked over a ward as they were coming into this pit. The professors are going to collapse onto them. Shin's going to come, or Nitro is going to come into the backline. Subject is going to land onto Pablo. However, the Muriel reversal card is going to come through. That is going to be the Fangtooth getting picked up for professors. Nitro was able to smite it away. Shin's going to have to use the ult, but now Nitro is in here completely by himself. Oh, just going to be able to get him as he is exiting it. So both Survivor and Nitro are going to fall in that fight. However, they take the hunt. They get the second Fangtooth. Stop that movement speed from coming over to the side of even worse timing and even up this neutral game.
And we see the full potential of the Sevarog jungle. They're able to just do not care. I'm going to slither my way into this objective and going to take it away from you. Great play by Professors. Unfortunate that Survivor went down, but it does look like we do have a small DC for Nitro coming into this game here. And that is not what you want to be looking into for the game 3 match going in.
Not at all. That is very unfortunate to see. We saw them face a little bit of adversity in their semifinals match yesterday, as Violence was the one who got the DC, and especially after Nitro makes a play like that you love to see so much, being able to steal that away. Very hard to out hunt somebody with the technical skills and the game experience that Six has, but was able to do it. Professors is familiar with this, though. Like we said, this happened to them yesterday. They're going to be able to maybe take a step back. They weren't able to pull that fight back, or that game back yesterday, that Violence DC, but he was gone for a very long period of time and was very far in the lead when he did DC. Hopefully we can get Nitro back, or Tua La Quinta, as fast as possible. Get this man onto some Wi-Fi. The hotels have been coming in clutch for us all weekend, and it looks like we may need another one, or we're going to get a maybe free game for even worse timing, which you just hate to see with this much on the line.
Hate to see it, but they have been stuck in this position, like you said before, and if they could just overcome it, and there you go, Sevarog is back, so there is still a lot to be worked with here. Good thing there wasn't the big prime or the primordial Fangtooth that was up like it was yesterday in their semifinals round, and I think they're going to be able to come back into this game. They just got to play it from a little bit behind going into the rest of this match.
Yeah, and you know, it is unfortunate, but Sevarog is still going to become super potent late game at the 17-minute mark, still looking pretty good over there for Nitro. Slow him down, but he is inevitable. Those stacks will be coming. He will become close to impossible to kill. We have a little pressure potentially coming to this tier 1 tower over on the side of even worse timing, as they've got them pushed back into it. Six is going to come through with that mini prime buff as well, but the minions are going to get cleared underneath that. Only one turret shot's gonna fall over onto Vecron as well. Seismic has put it into reverse. You hear him beeping as he goes through the corridor here. Six is gonna pick up his 3 camp as well. So the turret in the tier 1 in the dual lane is able to be defended. Shin making a good push for this tier 1 in the right side, but it is still very healthy, and Violence is on his way to defend this.
And then we see Sevarog just being able to put that pressure back on. Once they saw him, Seismic put in reverse, so did Crunch. But Crunch is still on the side of the dual lane, looking for a gank. He blinks on in. He's going to be able to get the uppercut for the double. Might be able to secure another one, and down they go inside the dual lane. Nitro was unable to rotate quickly enough to put that pressure out, but they do get a consolatory prize of the T1 in mid. But my, oh my, the uppercut there, able to secure the double kill on Six.
Yeah, Six with his best Mike Tyson impersonation there, catching both of them with the uppercut. Gonna engage the trade of tier 1s because of the play from Finesse there, though. So a little bit of a trade back for it, but that's still 2 kills netted for even worse timing. Gonna do a little bit of invading in this jungle as well, as they have the level advantage over Nitro now, unfortunately. Gonna do what they can to delay him getting his stacks up here. Take the whole 5 camp away. Wow, that minion got dragged almost all the way down the stairs. I don't think I've ever seen one of the 5 camp go quite that far. Violence is in a little bit of trouble. The laser beam is going to try to cut him in half, but the cage is too far away. Has already used the reaping dash, so Shin may be able to stick to him here. But we talked extensively yesterday about how hard it is to chase down a Feng Mao. He has the movement speed in the shield in his Q. He's got the reaping dash, which is virtually a free blink on a 12-ish second cooldown, and it's so hard to follow him down with no hard crowd control like you don't see in Greystone's kit.
Yeah, they got the stun ball off with Seismic there on a Decker, but unfortunately was not able to connect with the cage. So that allowed the Feng Mao just to rotate and kind of just use his mobility to kind of get out of that position. We saw the Ice Corn Talons pop, but since it's such on a low cooldown, it was definitely worth it there to at least try and attempt to catch this man out of position.
Yeah, gotta do what you can. However, sometimes your best is not good enough, and the violence lives to fight another day through that. And, you know, that's how it's been to get pretty much every kill in all of this. These people are putting their maximum amount of effort into this. Both of these teams have been working for this for so long, multiple weeks, almost 2 months since our last event. They've had their eyes on another title for even worse timing. They've had their eyes on redemption for Professors. They've gone through the struggles, the scrims, the preparation, and this is where it all pays off. They're going to have to fight for every single kill they get, every single objective that they're going to be able to claim, and it's going to be a bloodbath and a race to this finish.
Bloodbath indeed coming on up, as well as we look towards the third overall. Fangtooth coming up. Looks like the Professors have the sneak kind of advantage on this. They see a gank coming potential in the mid lane here. A 6 on the back line. Big Decker Cage coming out. Finesse 2 got hit in the face with a ball, and now by himself gets pushed back to torn space into the wall. Can they help him out? Big Black Hole comes out, but there's not really too much. Fat Crown Alt comes in for Violence. He's going to be able to slither away a little bit more, though. Don't think the Crunch is going to be able to take it. Shin in the back line, providing that slow, trying to get Survivor out of the fight, not to be able to do as much damage as he can. But big knockup comes up from the Bellica. Void Bomb goes down as well. 6 looking pretty low. Gonna have to dash away. Revenant Alt comes in. He's going to try and chase him down, but the dash, the mobility from the Crunch is going to keep him away. Nitro in the position, bad by Pablo. Red Rounds goes off, but unable to secure the kill. Pablo getting aggressive with background. They're going to have to be careful. Mirror Alt is down, and Professors are on the way to come support.
Oh, and that tier 1 tower is down. Nitro's going to end up being the second cow. Maybe not, as the rest of Professors are here to try to defend this. Still have the Seismic Assault on Crazy Fool. So the members of EWT not really able to step up. Actually, there it goes down. So watch the aggression start to come out of EWT, as there is no CC in order to stop them. Both at only about a quarter health right now. Not a whole lot of pursuit coming through. They have to dance themselves back over by it, but the rest of Professors are here to try to help. 6 is back as well with a whole bunch of health, and the ult is going to come down and it's going to pick up Pablo. They're going to delete 6. Where did he go? Like a magic man. Now you see him, now you don't. Vecron's going to have to flash out of the subjugate as well, or that surely would have been the Muriel's life as well. And how do Professors turn that there? It looked like Finesse 2 was going to be the only casualty of the fight. The next thing you do, you turn around and both Pablo and 6 are gone. Seismic might try something cheeky here, but it's going to be hard to outsmite Nitro here, who's got the hunt and all of his abilities to him as well. Beckron's on the other side of it. Finesse is in a little bit of a pickle here, but he still feels pretty safe. The lacrosse ball misses, which means there's really no chance that Finesse 2 gets locked down here, and that's going to be the second Fangtooth going through 2 Professors, and Nitro getting themselves that out of combat moving speed and kind of starting to take the lead in this game, F6.
We saw the twinkle toes coming in from the Professors, back and forth, abilities, and they were just able to just play it out because the rotations, the time it took. Pablo and Vecron just got a little bit too greedy, and they were able to get the rest of the reinforcement of Professors to come over and clean that up. We saw Violence coming in with a nice reaping dash, and the Spinnerooski with the ultimate execute coming in to clean up Pablo, and then the Seismic Assault with the hand cannon coming in from the back, blowing Crunch up instantly as soon as he got CC'd.
Yeah, I mean, just deleted. I don't think I've ever seen a Crunch go from full health to spectator mode so quickly, especially only around 11 levels into the game on average for Professors, and even worse timing at this spot. You think that he'd have some sustain, and they just focus him. All of the damage gets put directly into the robot. He runs out of oil and is going to have to go back to his base. That's going to open them up to take that second Fangtooth. Puts the Primal Fangtooth spawning in about 4 minutes from now, and that's when we've seen games really get explosive throughout all of Predecessor's history since they put that Primal Fangtooth in, honestly. And Violence wants some more of himself here. The Colossal Blow is going to come peel them away. Subject is going to land onto Shin as well, but they were trying to disengage, not engage there, and that's going to be safety. Going to use the Tranquility on the full health Pablo as well.
What a great save coming in from Nitro with the big, massive, colossal blow to be like, nope, not today. Even worse timing. Great peel. The reaping dash there, getting a little bit aggressive. We see the aggressiveness from Violence, and we don't want to take away from him, but he does have to be careful going into those fights like that.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was like Violence is, oh, I want to fight. And Nitro's like, no, you don't, buddy. We're not fighting this. Knocks him away, says, I'm not going to let you make a bad decision like that. What a good teammate Nitro is. We've seen him have a lot of success. This is also his second trip to a finals, as well as he lost to Royalty in PCC 3, I believe it was, when he was on Rogue, when they actually upset Professors in the semifinals of that event. So cool to see Nitro back here fighting for another team that has also felt that agony of making it all of the way to the finals, not being able to quite reach the finish line here. And they are looking to try to put so much pressure onto EWT. The winner of this game is in such a good spot, only needing to win one of the next 2 games if they are able to claim it. And if they win the game after this, the prize pool is theirs. A little bit of fighting going on in this mid lane over here. The root is going to come out onto Shin, but you don't really want to follow a Greystone too bad.
Not too much at all, especially when you don't have a lot of damage. Only Crazy Fool and Nitro. Pablo trying to 1v1 Violence, but I don't think he learned his lesson from that last fight that happened, that he can make you go from 100 to 0 and really quick, especially with the execute coming up, because you know his ultimate is ready to go. But you see Finesse 2 over in the dual lane, applying that pressure, keeping the pressure up there as Shin is trying to push it back. They're playing this back and forth to try and get you a little bit of advantage, and the mistake, the rotation of somebody getting caught out.
Yeah, and I think they've got an advantageous matchup in this mid lane right here, as those are the targets you're trying to put into a cage if you are Seismic. So the Professors have the, kind of the more vulnerable people into this Decker spot right now. Decker's not necessarily performing the way you would have expected, in the way that you saw it happen when he played it into For Fun Gamers yesterday in the semifinals. Professors, feels like maybe they were prepared for this, have found a way to catch it, have a couple of answers, but I think you need to be careful with the Revenant right in front of it, especially in this short lane like mid lane. 6 was hovering around as well, and they are looking to find picks on even worse timing. They need to do something, catch themselves back up in here, try to get, we're still relatively even, but they need to try to get themselves into control, or this is not going to go their direction. The scaling advantage is definitely in the favor of Professors with that Revenant, with that Sevarog, with Violence on the Feng Mao. They're going to do so much damage underneath a black hole in the late game. Not to mention the fact that they've got one of the highest damage dealing supports in the game on the Belica as well, and in the very competent hands of Crazy Fool.
The aggressiveness and shot calling from Crazy Fool, nonetheless, on top of everything you just said, Lance. But we do have 2 neutral objectives getting ready to spawn up here. Is it going to be a handshake of, hey, we're going to take Primordial, you're going to take Prime, or we're going to see a big, huge battle come out of this? And that's going to put a big advantage for Professors if they're able to get one of these major objectives and get even like a 1 or 2 kills. A black hole comes out on top, but the blink comes in from Vecron, and it's going to be able to save them, and they're going to get out of there in that position.
Yeah, and then he's going to use the Tranquility to get himself a little bit of health up here, and we have Violence pushing the tier 2 here. So instead of handshaking the neutral objectives, it looks like Professors is going to choose to go aggro on it, going to pressure up towards this tier 2 tower as they're starting the that is the Orb Prime side that they are on as well. So instead of just trying to get one of these, it looks like they're trying to get 2. Shin's going to clean up the wave after the tier 2 turret has fallen, but they have him distracted in mid lane here. I don't think EWT is wise to the fact that this is even happening, as it looks like there's a little bit of a fight going on, as both Nitro and Survivor are just starting to pump damage into this. Yeah, 6 has no idea he's on his 2 camp here. They have no idea. Like a thief in the night, Professors is gonna pick up Orb Prime 28 minutes into the game. Let's go, Professors. And now they are in the driver's seat. They are cooking with propane here. They're gonna get a little bit of damage onto Pablo, who's gonna use the shrapnel cannon to get himself away. Somebody got torn into the nether realm as well, and now it's Violence. Gets 1 execute off with his ult. A little bit of damage is going to pop down onto Seismic as well, and Violence is going to move forward into it. Seismic is going to have to use his blink to get away. Shin is here to buffer in between the 2 of them, but there's really no wave clear. The tier 2 is going to fall in the mid lane as well. That is 2 tier 2 towers down for it. Violence is going in. He does not care. The Subjugate is going to land as well. The Colossal blow, and that's going to be 4 members down. Only Shin is up. He's going going to have to use that Greystone ult, but he's going to come down and beat a sitting duck into them here. The Black Hole's going to jump down on top of them as well, and that's the clean RGS ace. 29 minutes into the game, the Orb Prime buff is up, the mid inhibitor is down, and Professors is going to turn their eyes towards the Primordial Fangtooth buff.
Lance, I cannot believe how many of the Professors were at 1 HP.
They're not going to it. They just go straight to the core. Can you believe it? I think they're going to go overtake that buff, but I had a suspicion that with the death timer still on, they were going to eye the core, and boom, Professors takes game 3, goes up 2-1, and the pressure is on our champions. Backs against the wall. We've never seen even worse timing in a position like this. How are they going to respond?
They're going to have to come back with something even bigger. But right now, even with the DC coming out of the Professors, they were able to come back. We saw Nitro say, you know what? I DC'd to give you guys a little bit of breathing room from the pressure I've been applying to you guys. But he came back swinging. The great steal coming in from the Professors with only 2 members, the Survivor and Nitro, picking up the majority of the Orb Prime, sealing the deal. We said they needed an objective to come back into this game to put themselves at a higher level to get this into their pockets, and they sure did that. The play that came out of Violence is what I really want to talk about. It is twice that he just dives to squishies in the back line and just put them at pretty much 0 health, and they were able to clean them up. And since the damage was gone, the follow-up was there, came in with the seismic assault, and just what a team fight coming in from the Professors for game 3.
And I don't know what you do if you're EWT here. They are right to be banning this Richter. Crazy Fool has been absolutely insane with the hooks that he's doing, just pulling the right people out of it. You can't give Violence Feng Mao again. What he's done to you in these games so far on this, what we've seen him play when he's getting these comfortable champions, you have to do something to try to stop what they are doing. They're winning through this off lane, and I don't know what you do if you're in EWT. We're going to have to read a couple chapters into that notebook. If you're Seismic here, it's looking grim for them. We might have a new champion.
Yeah, I don't think he got any updated notes, but come on and tell us about it, R-Dog with a triple G and Meds is sitting on the desk, because right now we're still trying to wrap our brains around it over here with me and Lance.
Game number 3, baby. Oh my goodness. I can't wrap my head around what just happened. Whoever shot called that OP like a thief in the night, they took that Orb Prime buff and they just won the game with it. While we have you here, thank you for all the love and thank you for tuning in. These 2 teams are just neck and neck. Twitch is offering discounts on subscriptions, so please, we have September right now, so you can upgrade your sub and drop us a sub. Thank you so much for the follows. Find us on YouTube, Twitter, and join our Discord. But man, oh man, Violence was spreading the hate. He is the answer. He is the way. He woke up and chose himself today. Cynic, what just happened?
I mean, as we talked about in the previous games, Violence and Nitro have been the bright spots for Professors, and this game is just Nitro just enabling Violence in the early game, putting Felix behind it, and obviously losing that lane control, the game kind of went stagnant for a while. Once the tier 1 was broken, there wasn't really much happening. And then obviously EWT slowly clawed back into the game, took some objectives, and then obviously the disconnect happened. And then Pablo said hey guys, let's have some sportsmanship here. Let's feed them back the gold that they gained during the DC and let my whole team get baited in to protect me. And then Professors were like, I'll take it. And then they just snowballed it from there. They cleared the vision in the Orb pit. They knew no one was there and they had no vision. They were like, yep, let's just take this and then go to mid and just snowball it out of control. And Violence just chose himself today.
Yep. Even with Nitro losing the connection, but then he booked a hotel for the Wi-Fi and he came back. Mr. Meds, what did you think about game number 3?
Yeah, I think the La Quinta Wi-Fi really came in, as Lance keeps saying. Wi-Fi diff 100%, but we could also say that it's kind of a Violence diff as well. As Cynic said, the jungle duo, or I should say jungle offlane, has been that bright spot, and I'd like to see EWT kind of target that in the next game that we have coming up soon. But you know, we have seen him be so dominant. Do you drop the TB? Do you drop that? Give it to Survivor? I don't know. That's kind of scary as well. So it's kind of what's the lesser of two evils? Survivor on TB or violence on Fang Mao? Who knows?
Or violence on Grux.
Or on Grux.
Exactly. Cynic, you were really waiting for that Sevrog jungle. What happened for that Sevrog?
I mean, it just did what it did best, right? It targeted the lane that had damage and had the skill to pull it off and snowball the lead, and just kept ganking Felix. And poor Felix 3-6 doesn't really have much to say in that matchup. So it's just, yeah, the Sevrog did what the Sevrog does. Subjugates were on point, ganks were on point, and obviously the DC, but that didn't let him affect him. He got back in the game. He played the game, played the objectives, and yeah, won the game that way.
Yep, the DC didn't even matter. But Mr. Meds, before we go in for a break here, what does EWT need to do so, you know, professors don't win this next game?
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting question, because I think we might see a salty run back coming in. I think that we are going to see something like that for this next game. I think that there were a couple situations from EWT and professors in this last game that could have, you know, swayed it one way or the other. So I think we're going to see something along those lines. Maybe we don't see the Decker mid. You know, maybe we do see some other spicy pick coming out of there that has some sort of pressure. We have seen some rumblings of maybe a Countess. Maybe that gets picked up instead of the Decker. Who knows? So we'll see.
All right, well, you know, take that washroom break, get more snacks, prepare yourselves for game 4 with professors leading 2-1 against EWT. And we're going to take a short break.